Welcome to Thomasville Insights with the City of Thomasville. On the podcast, we'll talk to experts on everything from Thomasville history and events to daily operations and city business, all while having some fun in the process. Welcome to Thomasville Insights with the City of Thomasville. We are here with a great crew. My name's Ricky Zambrano, and it is exciting to be here, but we've got a great crew with us here today, and it's my pleasure to introduce the charismatic Austin Reams to the show.
All right. We were only 30 seconds into the show, and you're already mischaracterizing me, but that's okay. I'll take the compliment. It is...
that's the beauty about podcasting.
That's right.
Like, your charisma comes out behind the microphone, and only I have to deal with you like away from the microphone. So
there you go. Well, again, they don't pay you enough. That's all I can say. We're gonna have a great show today. A lot of people. Some of the things that people talk to us about is some of the road construction and things like that. So excited to talk about that. But as we get closer to Major League Baseball's opening day coming up early April. Although
early
it used
April,
to be,
man. What calendar? What calendar are you on? You were talking pre-show about calendars. We won't talk about what type of calendars, but March 28th, man.
Well, see, shifting calendars are confusing. That's my point in general about things.
You know what's great about iPhones, smartphones? They have calendars.
Yes, and they do.
Just hit the day and find out what's going on that day.
They do, but like Major League Baseball used to be April 1st.
Used to be. And then even later in April, actually.
Now
April
it's gotten
8th.
it's gotten dumber where they'll have like opening day on like March 28th, and then none of the rest of baseball will play. They'll start 3 days later or something goofy like that. So thanks for getting me fired up about that, Ricky.
Well, I've got to be fired up at this time of year because this is my time of year to be fired up before the season starts and before the roller coaster of being a New York Met fan begins, as it typically always does. So March 28th, we're one of the best teams in baseball on opening day. One of the best winning percentages on opening day. We'll see what March 29 brings.
Yeah, the Braves are...
So actually, no, I'm incorrect. March 28th isn't opening day. It is actually March 26th. That's my bad.
Okay.
It's March 26th.
Okay, Mr. iPhone calendar. Thank you for that. Thank you for that.
You know why I'm hung up on March 28th? Because we'll talk about later in the show, but Easter extravaganza, baby.
Oh, yeah.
The mind is locked into the Easter extravaganza, and all my mind thinks about is March 28th.
That's right. That's going to be fun. So, we're excited to see, of course, I'm a Braves fan, and our season's already over because we don't have any pitchers, but they're calling me. I pitched back in my high school days, and, they need a left-hander that can throw 65 miles an hour.
You going to pull the rookie?
They need me, baby.
You going to pull the rookie?
That's right. I'm warming up my arm. Harmon's over here laughing at me because, he doesn't even believe I was a pitcher.
In retrospect, if I would have known what a left-handed reliever could bring in the market, I think I would have kept on throwing that ball instead of kicking the soccer ball around.
Yeah, that's true.
Might have had a better chance of not sitting here with you, actually, maybe.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's a huge market for 5'5" relievers.
6 and a half.
6 and a half relievers.
And if I put on spikes, I could be 5'8".
Yeah. With platform shoes on, pitching from the mound.
And not to mention, remember, you always exaggerate the statistics. And NFL draft combine has shown that, right?
Absolutely. All right. Well, enough of all this. As Major League Baseball are constructing rosters, no better time to talk about building a team than having Mark Harmon, who is the executive director of inspections and engineering. I love that title, Mark.
It sounds impressive.
It is. It is impressive. It is impressive.
You're that executive.
I know, executive. It's like, hey, now.
That's a whole other level.
I know. Do you insist that everybody say, instead of Mark, it's executive Mark? I mean, because I would do something like that.
You know, I thought about that, but my staff keeps me humble. So, no.
Austin, what's your title?
Yeah, like Village Idiot or something.
Executive
like I don't even have.
Village Idiot.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, that's big.
Yeah, CEO of Idiocy.
Yeah.
Which actually, I would love it if they gave me that title. I would totally be down with that in this kind of.
I'll start working on the name tag for you.
In the crazy LinkedIn world of exaggerating who you are, like I just go the opposite. I love all that stuff. But we don't have.
I have a sneaky suspicion that some of this is going to get edited.
I don't know. No,
we're still clean. that last episode, we made it through that one. So I think we're good.
I pitched Ricky, now that he's a celebrity. All celebrities, they either have cologne or perfume or alcoholic beverages that they, and so I was trying to let's get him to make some more money and use his fame and celebrity.
One time through editing. Let's not bring it. The second time it's probably going to get struck. So.
Yeah. Anyway, I thought it was a good idea, but it's probably a good idea to get on with the show. I want to talk to Mark Harmon. Got a lot of construction things going on, but for folks to get to know Mark Harmon, he is a true Renaissance man. So. Let's kind of let the audience get to know Mark. True or false, Mark? You're a musician.
I am a musician, not a good musician, but I am a musician.
We didn't say good or bad. We just said musician.
Yeah.
Austin does a job. Nobody says he does it good or bad.
Nobody says I'm a good video person. What do you play?
Play guitar, a little bit of harmonica, a little bit of bass.
Okay.
So we've had many bands over the years. Started really, you can't call it serious, but started really playing on a regular basis in the early, middle 90s. And we did that for quite a few years until early 2000s. And then we got together and did a lot of vocal harmonies with some acoustic stuff. And recently had one of my close friends that played music with us pass away, very young age, unexpectedly. And it shouldn't have, but has kind of inspired me to take it back up because we had, but I miss it. I miss it. And it's something that I think if you don't play an instrument, if you don't sing, everybody should try it.
Okay. Well, you haven't heard Ricky sing.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing.
That's why they made earplugs.
That's right. Well, my theory about harmonicas is like every rock and roll song is made better with harmonicas.
Can be, yeah.
I mean, how about U2 Desire, right? Throw a little harmonica in there. Mm-hmm. And so a bunch of Bob Dylan songs that are made better with harmonica. Well,
it's Bob Dylan's a good example. It's an instrument that regardless of what your skill level, you can sound proficient. As you get develop a skill level that is much higher, it can be something that really catches your ear, much like a saxophone.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. See, Renaissance man.
Yeah.
Ricky, you had something.
Yeah. So one from first is a statement. Is lunchtime in the engineering department like, band time, because you have another band man in the department as well with Ray Herndon.
We do.
So do you guys get together and rock it out at lunchtime instead of knocking down a sandwich? I mean, is that what takes place in engineering?
Well, we don't. If for those of you who don't know Ray's been playing as long as I've known him, and he is an extraordinarily skilled musician. He's played in, I think, just about every musician in town.
He's appeared on stage at the amphitheater.
He has.
All right, I didn't know that.
Has, yeah.
And he's
What's
very
his group's
skilled.
name? What's the?
They are the Skinks.
Skinks.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes,
All right. I know
Randy
Skinks.
Young.
Randy
I
Young,
know the Skinks.
Yeah.
Yep.
So my get to know part really is it true or false? You use steroids for your beard.
No steroids
It's just
involved.
natural. It's natural.
It's natural. I mean, when you have a face like this, it is good to cover up parts of it.
Yeah, he does have it is a biblical looking beard. He could pass for an Old Testament prophet. I mean, I think so. What do you think, Ricky?
Listen, I've always been told if you don't know what you're doing, at least look good.
Yeah,
So,
there we go. I like it.
that's what I've lived
That
by.
is a true statement.
That's why I always try and make sure I look good, because I typically don't know what I'm doing.
All right, well, let's get down to it. We've got some questions. We've obviously the whole this kind of stage of city life for all of us is a lot of roads and engineering going on. So you are super busy. which is a good thing. But you were here maybe about a year ago and spoke about some major road renovation projects. Can you remind some of the listeners of what projects you're referring to?
So we always have several. I think the ones that are foremost on people's minds that they're seeing perhaps traffic detours, delays, diversions is Old Albany Road and Remington Avenue.
Those are the big ones. Just give me, you want to update on some of those, or what we got going on? You want to start with Old Albany Road, maybe? An update there?
Old Albany, essentially Georgia 3 is a state route, even though it's within the city right-of-ways. We think of it as a city road, but it is state route, and as such comes with a lot of red tape. It was envisioned, this sidewalk project, which also encompasses some other components such as stormwater control, was envisioned about 6 years ago. That project is well underway. There are a couple of milestones along the way that make it a challenging project, but it is still slated to be on time.
Yeah. And for those who aren't aware, Old Albany Road, if you head toward Cairo, heading out that way, and for people who don't know where Old Albany Road is, so Archbold North Side, some new growth going on out there. So I like that we're kind of ahead of the game a little bit of trying to get that road more walkable and things like that.
So we do have a couple of apartment complexes along that roadway. Hunter's Chase, Villa North are both there, and one of the residents of those complexes is the one that came forward and really brought to the forefront that there was a challenge for anybody walking along that roadway because the ditch banks were so steep. Mm-hmm. And I used to come into town that way, and there was a real challenge to see people walking along the white line of the roadway in enough time with the speeds as they are. That roadway was at that time, and I think still is, 45 miles an hour. And it's really a challenge to see somebody, even if they're in light clothing, that time of the day, before daylight. So it was a good idea. We began to investigate that, and this project was born. This sidewalk will connect from Plantation Oaks, which is the industrial complex out there, all the way into North Boulevard. So I think it will make a world of difference for all those tenants of those apartment complexes, as well as other individuals along that roadway.
Yeah, that's neat.
So you summarized, obviously, the project on Old Albany Road. Summarize for us the Remington Streetscape project.
So Remington was envisioned, to address a myriad of issues that included pedestrian access to the park as well as along the roadway for those people that live along, because Remington is largely residential. Also, we had some stormwater concerns there, and it has become, with increased traffic flows over the years, it has become more of a thoroughfare than it really should be. And so we were also trying to control speed and improve traffic safety there for everybody. So that project was originally envisioned in 17 or 18, as you know, but the scope grew dramatically, and it expanded to the point it was well beyond what our budget would allow. So we went back to the drawing board and pared it back to only the basics of what were needed. So that's where we are today.
And to summarize those basics, obviously road safety, walkability were and then obviously stormwater were some of the key issues.
Yes. At one time, 122 coming in from the east was going to go all the way through down Remington and back out to Smith Avenue, which is why the first little legs of that roadway as they come into town were 4-lane from each end. So that leg of Kern coming in off of Smith and that first little leg of Remington up to the intersection of Pine Tree and Remington were 4-lane with the idea that roadway would be 4-lane. Well, obviously, residents along that road did not like that idea, and so it got tabled at some point 40 years ago. But as a result of that, people tended to think of it as a thoroughfare. And so we envision changing that to really, it's not a residential subdivision, but it's become more of a residential street with these changes. There's the roundabout that's been added, of course, at the kind of goofy intersection of Kern and Remington and Reed. There's the road diet that has occurred from 4 lanes back to 2, where Kern comes in from Smith. The areas right there where it's very briefly 4-laned between the Circle K and Dunkin' Donuts have also going to have some restrictions there where traffic is controlled and really throttled into 2 lanes. You've got signalization that's being added at Covington and Remington to slow traffic down, and then the roundabout helps a lot as well with controlling traffic, both to give people access during busy times, but to control the speed of traffic as they go through the roundabout. So all these things collectively are going to make a big difference in being it for mobility of traffic from side roads as well as down the main road, but controlling speed at a safe rate so that pedestrians now have access that they can depend on being reliably safe for them to transition from parks or from whether we're talking about Cherokee Lake or Remington Park.
Yeah. So, I'm a big, where do you guys stand on, we'll get to Ricky's list of great questions here, but where do you guys stand on roundabouts? I'm a big roundabout guy. People probably hate me because of it, but I like them because it's so unnecessary to stop. Like, in other words, like the one on Magnolia and Pine Tree, once people got used to it, like you don't have to stop there. And people understand it. Like I wouldn't put it in a major intersection, but I like the one, Remington and Kern is going to be a good one. So where do you got, Ricky? Where do you stand? You were over there making faces at me. Where do you stand on roundabouts?
Yeah, I'm making faces because of the comment you made about my work. So
I like your work. I didn't. That's why I said that. I
wouldn't stay up till 3:00 in the morning doing all this if you were going to complain about it.
No,
Well, listen. Here's my belief. There are people that are experts at things. They live in that environment. They work in that environment. They study that environment. So I trust in those people that do that. And if there's a need place for a roundabout, and if there's a need place for a stoplight, or if there's a need place for a stop sign, somebody that knows more about it than me is making that decision. So that's my point. I mean, I don't want you, if I'm coaching youth soccer, to come on the soccer field and tell me how to coach soccer.
You are exactly correct on that one.
So it's the same thing. It's we have areas that we have control over, and we have areas that we don't, and we have areas that other people have experience in, and that's
a great political answer. You got a campaign that you're working on here?
No.
Are you going to run for anything?
No, not at all. Not
all
at
right,
all.
just checking.
But that's the reality.
Yeah.
Is if I gotta go to a stop sign and a signal, I'll go to a signal. If I gotta go to a stop sign,
somebody's run the numbers.
I mean, it don't make. Here's what makes a difference to me is A, the people that are making that decision. B, the people that actually live in the area.
Yeah,
where that may be. So there's a reason and an impact on those people. Mm-hmm. When something comes down my block, then I'll be a little bit more interested in it in regards to my,
safety
my
issues.
opinion on it. So,
Mark, any thoughts on roundabouts before we get back to Ricky's fantastic questions?
They have their place, obviously, and I think the intersection there that we were discussing earlier with where Remington makes that funny bend, Kern comes in, Reed, the elevation differences and the width of that open intersection made it awfully confusing, and there were times of day when school traffic was coming in and out that it really got bad. Roundabouts really do force people to slow down as they approach because they've got to make a turn to the right. They've got to merge into traffic. It can be a little bit scary, I guess, if you've never been in one, but once you get used to it and learn where to look, it's a very simple exchange. And I think the vast majority of people prefer them because it keeps traffic moving. Mm-hmm. Nobody has to stop. And those dramatic four-way stop dilemmas. Did he get there first? Is he on my right? Do I go now? We're directly across. He's turning left. Which way do I go?
That's someone that actually thinks about that. Right?
That's right. And, so, and
there are those that get there and hey, I got here first. I don't care if I was here last.
In the isolation of today's world, people on their phones, earbuds in, and the sound deadening effects of modern cars, people do kind of get distracted as much as we combat that. So I think this helps with those types of things. And stop signs, as much as they have a place in our world, I think a roundabout replaces a stop sign very effectively.
Back to Ricky's fantastic questions here. So what are some of the next major portions of the projects that contractors will be working on Old Albany Road or Remington Avenue?
So Remington Avenue, we've touched a few pretty good sized milestones. The roundabout is, I'm going to say 100% complete. There is still some striping to be done on the road surface, permanent striping. There's some paint down there now. And we're proposing to open that leg from the roundabout out to Smith. We are still waiting on some reconfiguration of the signalization at Smith and Remington. And as soon as that is completed, we'll probably open that up because there will be additional interruptions on the other side of Remington from the roundabout back to Pine Tree. You may have noticed excavation crews putting in additional water lines, that sort of thing. So those crews are going to move back down toward Pine Tree and then start working back to the roundabout. And so we felt as though if we got that first major leg open, that would free up traffic and still keep everybody safe. So in the coming weeks, you will see that happen. We are still hoping this project will be 100% complete before the end of the summer.
That would be great.
So as we talk about that, what about the same question for Old Albany? What milestones have we hit over there?
So Old Albany, the biggest challenge with Old Albany is it is a busy roadway. It is a state roadway. We have some, I don't want to say red tape, but there are some additional regulations in place where the road cannot be closed. It has to remain open. They can close one lane. They can use a pilot car. And it brings on its own considerations whenever the crews are on site trying to control traffic and work in those limited space. One of the biggest milestones was getting that pedestrian bridge set, configuring large cranes, pile drivers to get all that stuff, that equipment in there, and then get everything done in order to set the pedestrian bridge and get it placed and get that part of it complete was a big deal. They've been working on, and I think they were planning to be through this week with all of the underground parts of the stormwater control. They have started working on sidewalk and some curb and gutter. So they as of our last biweekly meeting, they are still planning to be through with that project on time, which is June 3rd.
Wow.
And just of note, the pedestrian bridge is not yet open to the public.
That is correct. Yes, the access way to and from are not complete.
I got you. You may have already covered this. But Remington, have you officially started phase 2 yet, or can you tell me about that? I may have missed that.
No, you haven't. So when we revisioned this project, we took away a lot of the elements that made it more grand. The landscaping, sidewalks on both sides of the road, curb and gutter, a lot of the things that added cost also added the attractive attributes elements to it. And so one of the things we did to make sure we stayed within a very limited budget was to take away the sidewalks. Well, once we got the project started, once we had it bid and we knew what the parameters were, we were kind of encouraged by council to go back and look at a sidewalk. So we have now bid that, we have it contracted, and we have actually merged it kind of on the tail end of phase 1.
Oh, cool.
So the sidewalk will be through with the entire project. We should bring together all of these elements before it's done. Another big part of this project was stormwater control. So in my limited years I'm only 22. So
right.
My limited years of experience here in Thomasville.
He was just 12 when we hired him.
That's right.
So, yeah.
Is that the only area that I know we've had flooding where structures were actually affected was in the Betty Margaret Street area. And we've known about this. This is kind of the headwaters for what becomes Olive Creek as it leaves that area. And so the originally proposed resolution to these problems was very expensive, $6 to $7 million. So we started looking at what the controlling factors were of how we get water out of there. And we came up with a plan. My staff worked very hard to try to come up with a plan to devise a detention facility. I use the word detention. It's actually more of a retention facility because we started out just trying to hold water back to give the water that is collected time to get out through the different pipes and infrastructure that's there. But in this case, we decided it needed to be an attribute for the park. So we actually converted that to a retention facility as well. And so what is about an 1.5 acre pond will actually have water in it full time. It has enough capacity, freeboard, as you will, to hold quite a bit of storm water. And then through a controlled release will allow all the other water that gets collected in that area to leave and exit through Briley's Lake, which is in Summer Creek Cove, under Remington, out through Lake Eagle, Cherokee Lake, and so forth to the south. So by doing that, we think we have fully resolved those past issues that we've had there with flooding. So we're eager to get that started. It is currently out for bid, and I don't know that it'll be 100% complete by the time Remington is fully reopened, but that is our goal.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. So, and just so I have it in my mind, so there's if you're on Remington, and you're near the ball fields, near the turn in to go to the ball fields, kind of headed toward Kern Street, headed into, toward, it's kind of on the right. There's a pond kind of nearby. Is that the one you're talking about?
No, if you know where the fire station, the E911 building is, it is operated by the county. Between there and the little area of pine trees, the current entrance to the Y off of Remington, there's an open area there. It's a little low already. Sometimes holds water. Low, So we're going to excavate that. There's a guy wire that comes down from a radio tower there. There's some other little buildings, but there'll be a large section of pond there, and then you may have noticed a new driveway that comes in just to the west of that group of pine trees. The existing drive will be closed. That new drive will come into the parking lot area. And on both sides of that drive will be some element of pond.
So we'll backtrack a little bit to the order of my great questions that Austin likes to skip around on, because we do need to discuss one topic that's been left out, and that's the median at the corner of Pine Tree and Remington. So tell us why the median is important, and tell us why that median will go there.
So the history of accidents along that roadway, and forgive me, I don't remember the numbers, and I didn't research that just before I came. But
one is too many, right?
But one is too many. We haven't had any fatalities, at least looking back, I think, for the last 5 years. But the vast, vast majority of those accidents, and I think I recall something north of 80% of all the accidents that have occurred have been in that area right there. People trying to cut across 3 or 4 lanes, trying to sneak out when traffic is kind of snarled in that area. And so all those driveways are going to become in or right out only. And so you're going to see some goring, some paint on the road that does not.
Just to pause right there, when you say in and out only, you're referring to the shopping plaza that has Dunkin' Donuts and the shopping plaza of Ollie's and Circle K and
correct T&B right in there.
Correct. Yes. So all those driveways, and one of the reasons that we're moving the drive we just discussed, that is currently the entrance to the Y, right there beside T&B, Thomasville National Bank. For those of you who don't know, that's one of the reasons it's being relocated. So that drive will be the last drive, the new drive will be the last drive that allows you to come in and turn either direction. Once you get down to all those other drives that are within about 100 yards of the light at that intersection of Pine Tree and Remington, all those drives will be right in, right out only. That median is designed so that if we have emergency vehicles like an ambulance or a fire truck, they can climb over them. There's a kind of a face that's been cut on about a 45-degree angle, so the curb is mountable. But otherwise, it is going to prohibit traffic from cutting across those lanes.
The key word is emergency vehicles.
Yes.
Correct. And we feel it will dramatically improve traffic. And the last element of this, which is in the works, is on the opposite side of the intersection, coming from the east into town on 122 Remington Avenue. That far outside lane beside Commercial Bank, Synovus, now just recently resold, will be right only. You will not be able to cross the intersection. You will only be able to cross from the inside lane against the yellow line going across.
I like that.
So to go to that side of Pine Tree, it'll be right turn lane, left turn lane,
Middle.
and one central.
One center lane
to
going
proceed
straight
across.
Correct. Yes, that's right. And there'll be goring or paint on the road that reminds you of that on the opposite side. So there'll only be one lane as you approach Dunkin' Donuts or the entrance to that complex.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it should improve safety dramatically. We realize there haven't been speeds are at a level where there shouldn't be serious injuries, and there haven't been. But we know that with increased accidents, there's always an increased chance of something else happening. So this should improve traffic safety dramatically.
I think you mentioned it earlier. As those that enter our community through 122, oftentimes are not from here, or traveling through, and they obviously are unaware of speed limits, and or the reductions that we've made in the community as far as speed limits go. And so some of these things are necessary in order for those that are not aware to, protect our community.
Yep, I agree with that fully. And even those that live here, become complacent with trying to hopscotch between stopping points, and so maybe don't pay as much attention to speed as they should. And if you don't feel like you're traveling that fast until you're out of a vehicle on the side of the road and see it go by, and then you realize just how statistics indicate that if you get hit by a vehicle going in excess of 40 miles an hour, your chances of survival are dramatically lower than if you get hit by a vehicle going 25 miles an hour. So, and I don't want anybody to be hit by a vehicle, but you get the point. Yeah. So, all of that factors into some of these decisions.
All right, back to Ricky's fantastic questions. What do you want the community to know about continued detours and road closures and construction areas? And like I said, this is just a time period within the city life. There's going to be a lot of those. There's a lot of those now. There's going to be a lot of them in the next several years with a lot of infrastructure going on.
So I know they're inconvenient. I know they're a pain in the fanny. If you've traveled that route every day to work and it takes you an extra 5 minutes to go out and around, I understand, and I truly apologize. But we've seen a number of people ignore our barricades, climb the curb, go around through freshly laid sod, only to cut through an active construction zone. Luckily, we haven't had any accidents or incidents involving construction workers, but we've had one or two near misses. And I encourage people to follow the signs, adhere to the rules of the road when it comes to newly posted speed limits for the construction zones. If you're in the area of Old Albany Road, I realize that single lane closure is pretty long now. Follow the pilot car. They're there for a reason. If you're coming up on one of the side roads, there should be a service tech or somebody there with the construction company to help control that traffic and indicate to you where the pilot car is located and when you can enter traffic safely. We've had a few incidents where people have entered the roadway only to meet oncoming traffic in the only single lane. So please be patient with us. All these projects will be through. There'll be other projects in other parts of town, but these projects will be through very soon. And we would hope that nobody has to. If you're in a hurry and you force it and you get in an accident, you're obviously going to be much later than if you just wait the extra 2 or 3 minutes that it takes. So,
yep, plan accordingly.
That's right.
And we've talked about this in some way, shape, or form, but summarize if you can, in one sentence or sentence and a half or whatever, with both
Only
projects,
one.
with both projects, talk about traffic flow, connectivity. I mean, what will these both accomplish for the citizens of the community?
So Old Albany is really pretty well limited to pedestrian access, which they have not had on that roadway since it has been in service. We combined that with the stormwater aspects that we discussed. So once that project is finished, I think the roadway will feel much more friendly for both traffic and pedestrians. Remington is a combination of a multitude of things. For those of you who have gotten a sneak peek looking down Smith Avenue, the attributes and just the overall attractive aspects of it are much more user-friendly. I think in general you will feel like the road is more consistent in its presentation and inviting. It will control speeds. It will allow people to traverse from side roads and other areas of the community coming into that roadway with less aggravation certain times of the day. So I think it is a large improvement for that part of town.
And one follow-up on the sidewalk as part of Phase 2. Just so the listeners are clear, this will not be sidewalk on both sides of Remington.
Correct.
Can you explain the pattern of the sidewalk?
So from Smith Avenue into the roundabout, it is on both sides. It is around the roundabout all sides. There are transitional slopes from the sidewalk down to the roadway and connecting parts to Reed, connecting parts back into the existing sidewalk on the north side of the road of Remington going on into town. And then once you get between the roundabout and Pine Tree Boulevard, it stays primarily on the north side of the road until you get to Ben Grace. And then at Ben Grace, it crosses over, traverses south side of the road all the way out to Pine Tree Boulevard where it connects.
Mark, appreciate you being here. Or did I miss the order? Okay. Ricky loves all his questions. I thought we got to them all, Ricky.
Well, did we? Did we?
I mean, we got our history bit here, but I thought we got to all your questions. Did we get to
I
them
was
all?
saying I wanted to say goodbye to Mark.
Okay, all right.
You see the part that says Ricky thanks guests?
Yeah.
I mean, you always get to thank the guests. Can I thank them? Is that all
well,
right?
I am more thankful than you, but go ahead.
We'll both thank him. Mark, thank you for spending time with us. Appreciate the information. And, we, as you said, we understand that there's a lot of patience needed, and patience is for all of us, right? We all travel those roads. So, but the information is great, and the timeline is clicking. So we will soon be at the end. So we appreciate your time and your information. Also, would you like to say thank you to Mark as well?
I try to out-thank you, Ricky, but I can't. I mean, I think you summed it all perfectly. Again, appreciate what you do and all the hard work and all the thought that you guys put into making things make sense and be not cost so much as well, kind of balancing the needs of neighborhoods and transportation. Not an easy job.
Thank you guys very much. I truly enjoyed it.
All right, so now we're ready for the
Mark,
history.
you're going to want to hear this part.
Yeah,
so.
here we go. This is what you've all tuned in for. Everybody, forget what Mark just said. Now we have the history. I'm just kidding, Mark. Now we have and celebrating our Bicentennial, our 2026 podcast will include Thomasville History Did You Know segment. Here we go. This is provided by the Thomasville History Center, not by me and Ricky, so we know that it's accurate. So did you know in 1850, the population of Thomas County was 10,103 people. So
who is that third person as well?
I don't know.
Who are those last three?
It's real specific. Yeah. I like that. Good job, census takers. In addition, in 1853, Thomasville's first newspaper, the Georgia Watchman, was published, which is a fantastic name for a newspaper. Georgia Watchman. I like it. And then last fact, history fact, is 1857, Jerger Jewelers, which is believed to be the oldest continuously operated jewelry store in Georgia, opened. And so it was, Jerger's was here for a long time in downtown. For those who don't know, I guess it's where South Life is now, I believe. But it's a beautiful jewelry store for a long time. So Have any memories of Jerger jewelries?
I don't. I'm not much of a jewelry guy, and but that's a very long history because I think they just recently closed, so more than 100 years in business.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
The real question: what was the opening like? What was the ribbon cutting like, Austin? Because I mean, I know you were
talking about the original.
Yeah.
Well, I was.
What was like in 1857? What was that ribbon cutting like?
I had my top hat on, and they had like a brass band, and I was looking for a pinky ring for you. Because I know that's your jam right there, but they didn't sell pinky rings.
I only wear one ring, Austin. We won't say why.
That's right.
Because it speaks to the love for my family and my wife. That's why I wear this ring.
You're trying to make up for what you said earlier. Yeah. We know what you're doing.
All right, well, let's wrap things up here. And, we mentioned, we gave the little tease earlier, but March 28th, we got the Easter extravaganza coming up. Saturday, March 28th, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. at Weston Park. That is 230 Felix Street, for those of you unaware of the address for Weston Park. Music, food, games. Rumor has it Austin will not be the Easter Bunny, thankfully. But the Easter Bunny will be in attendance. 6,500 eggs as part of the Easter egg hunt. And we are so thrilled to announce that all 6,500 of these eggs were generously donated by community partners.
Awesome.
6,500 eggs generously donated by community partners. 200 golden eggs as part of the Easter egg hunt. Again, a large portion donated by our partners as well. So thank you very much to all our partners that are part of this. Over 40 organizations have come together to provide this event for the community. So it'll be a great time, and we're looking really forward to it. In addition, we got coming up, a lot of people have been asking about this. In April, we'll have the annual Solid Waste Department's annual Spring Clean event. That will take place April 11 at Balfour Park and Flipper Park from 8 a.m. to noon. And on April 18th at Cherokee Park from 8 a.m. To noon as well. In addition, on April 18th, there will be a cleaning supply distribution that is in partnership with various community partners as well. So those that come and drop off the items that they cannot, get rid of in their recycle bins, in their trash bins at home. All of those things. There's technology that can be dropped off, old computers, paint cans, and things of that nature that you are asked not to drop in your solid waste bin can be brought out to the Spring Clean event. And like we said, on that April 18th, come on out, drop off items, and receive some cleaning supplies.
All right. Well, again, thanks, Mark, and thanks for everyone listening. Remind everyone to subscribe to the podcast on your favorite app. Tell your friends so that way Ricky and I can have more people making fun of us.
You've been listening to Thomasville Insights with the City of Thomasville. The show is produced by the City of Thomasville Marketing Department. The show's music is by pond5.com. To learn more about the City of Thomasville, visit thomasville.org or follow us on social media. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast on your favorite listening app so you don't miss an episode. Thanks for listening.